In simple terms, you can think of athletes being categorized into one of three boxes. The first box is fragile, and when you think of fragile, you probably think of glass. The thing with glass is, as long as it stays in a stable, predictable environment, it's absolutely fine. But glass suffers if it's exposed to rough handling, to randomness, chaos, stress, or unpredictability. You can probably picture what the type of athlete is. It's all happy days playing their sport until they land funny accidentally, get in a bad position making a tackle, or pull up sore with a hammy at training. All of a sudden, the athlete falls apart when exposed to stress it can't handle. Safe to say, you don't want to be a fragile athlete. So, what's the opposite? Well, when most people think of the opposite to fragile, they use words like resilient or robust, which seems to make sense. But when we think of something that is robust, that is resistant to change, we think of something like stones. You can throw them, you can drop them, you can do whatever you want, but the chances are they'll look exactly the same no matter what stress you place upon them. While being resistant to change sounds like a good deal, it isn't actually all it's cracked up to be. Athletes can't stay the same and can't be resistant to change. They need to change, they need to adapt, they need to evolve to become better at their sport. So it's like saying that if fragile is negative, that the opposite to fragile is neutral. That's not quite right, is it? That's what leads us to our third box. It's the anti-fragile box. Unlike robust athletes who are resistant to change, anti-fragile athletes get better over time when exposed to the right amount of stress, unpredictability, and overload. Unlike glass which breaks or a stone which stays the same, anti-fragile athletes are like diamonds. Under pressure, they get better. They seem to thrive off stress, randomness, and the unpredictability of sport. So you're probably wondering, how do you become an anti-fragile athlete? Well, the answer is quite simple. You have to provide a controlled environment which takes calculated risks and imposes a calculated amount of stress in your training. While the risk is small and the stress is relatively small compared to what you can already handle, it's still there. But this is one of the biggest mistakes that athletes make when they think of their training in the gym. Training in the gym is an afterthought, a means to an end, or it's disregarded altogether. But that's a big mistake because it's one of the best ways to expose yourself to controlled amounts of stress and disorder so that you can adapt as a stronger, faster, and more capable athlete. When athletes first come to us, they admit they follow basic programs off the internet, or they pay for whiteboard workouts in large groups, or they follow a one-size-fits-all sports-specific program. Even though they know it's not ideal, it's just not taken seriously enough. But the chances are, if you want to be a great athlete, you need to become an anti-fragile one. And the job of the gym is not simply to make you robust, but to actually make you better. Better conditioned so you can practice more frequently. More powerful so you can hit that home run, bump off the opposition, or make that clutch physical play. And more prepared for randomness and unpredictability. If you want to succeed as an anti-fragile athlete, here is what we suggest. Diversify your risk by improving performance in the gym, not just in competition. Resist the urge to suppress randomness and control everything. Make sure that if you do play, your soul is in it. Experiment, tinker, and reiterate. Take more small, calculated risks in training. Avoid risks that, if things go wrong, would wipe you out completely. Don't get consumed by data, but find someone who understands it. Keep your options open and respect the old. If things have been working for a lot of people, it's probably in your best interest to try. In short, if you stop optimizing for today or tomorrow and start playing the long game, you'll become an anti-fragile athlete. That means that stress, inefficiency, and a healthy dose of randomness in the short term is going to help you become more effective in the long term. In our experience, seeing athletes trying to optimize the short term by not trying something new, not embracing any risk, or trying to control for everything is what makes them break or hardly improve. If you want to play the long game and win at it, then treat yourself more like a diamond, and embrace the stress and pressure.